Well, this was my last T20 World Cup, and this is exactly what we wanted to achieve.
Have you just made an announcement, Virat, about T20 internationals?
Yes, I have. This was an open secret. It was not something that I was not gonna announce even if we had lost.
The trials of Virat Kohli in Test cricket, particularly against New Zealand, are a stark reminder of the impermanence of form, even among the game's finest. Kohli, once the relentless engine of India's batting lineup, now finds himself struggling for stability at the crease. This latest outing against New Zealand seemed poised to mark his resurgence, especially with India under duress at 50 for 2. Fans and critics alike looked on, hopeful that Kohli's characteristic grit and skill would reinvigorate a side in need of his stabilizing influence. Yet, in a moment that punctuated his recent struggles, he succumbed to a full-length ball from Mitchell Santner, a delivery that, in years past, would have likely been dispatched with an effortless flick or powerful drive.
This was going to be my last T20 World Cup playing for India. It's time for the next generation to take over. 2-year cycle, there's some amazing players playing in India, and they're going to take the team forward in the 2020 format and do wonders as we've seen them do in the IPL.
Such dismissals have become an unfortunate feature of Kohli's game in recent years, a marked departure from the player who once dominated bowlers across formats with unwavering confidence. In 2024 alone, his 9 innings have yielded just 228 runs, with a solitary half-century serving as the sole bright spot in an otherwise dim year. This average of 28.5 this year is a telling reflection of his prolonged struggle, one that has now extended over multiple seasons. Looking further back, the numbers offer an even more sobering picture. Since the start of 2020, Kohli has averaged a modest 33.01 across 33 tests, a far cry from the commanding 54.97 he boasted in 2019. In that time, he has managed just 2 centuries, 9 half-centuries, and a total of 1,816 runs. For a batsman of his caliber, these figures cut a sharp contrast to his earlier dominance and raise questions about the causes behind this decline.
And he enters. Man for the big stage, the big occasion. The bigger the game, the more he wants to contribute. He likes a fight, he likes a scrap as well.
He can play all the shots. Look at that one. This bloke is brilliant. And this is when he comes to life. And listen to the crowd. They're chanting Kohli, Kohli.
Particularly troubling is Kohli's place within the revered Fab Four of contemporary batting, a group comprising himself, Kane Williamson, Joe Root, and Steve Smith. Once regarded as the preeminent member of this quartet, Kohli now lags far behind his peers in terms of consistency and impact. Williamson, the Kiwi stalwart, has accumulated an impressive 2,500 runs since 2020 at an average of 64, underlining his resilience and knack for anchoring innings. Smith and Root have likewise maintained commendable form, with averages above 45 and 50 respectively, highlighting Kohli's current lack of parity with his contemporaries. As it stands, Kohli ranks 42nd among batsmen with more than 1,000 test runs since 2020, a statistic that would have been unimaginable just a few years ago.
It happened in 2012, played the IPL in 2012, and the lead up to that was interesting because I had scored my first Test 100 in Australia in 2012, followed by that game against Sri Lanka in Hobart, where we chased that total down within 40 overs. That came out of nowhere, honestly. I did not believe that I could do something like that at the international stage.
Part of the issue seems to lie in Kohli's recent vulnerability against left-arm spinners, a weakness that bowlers like Santner have begun to exploit with unerring precision. Where Kohli once dispatched such bowlers with ease, his recent dismissals hint at an increasing uncertainty in both footwork and shot selection. It's a curious development for a batsman who has historically thrived on his technical assurance and sharp reflexes. Santner's delivery in Pune wasn't the unplayable sort that a batsman like Kohli would typically struggle against. Rather, it was his own hesitation and lack of decisiveness that spelled his downfall. The Kohli of old would likely have met the ball with his signature aggression, sending it to the boundary with a flourish. Instead, There was an unfamiliar tentativeness, a moment's indecision that exposed a lapse in confidence.
I knew what kind of mindset I was in. I wasn't very confident in the last few games. I wasn't feeling really good out there. But when God has to bless you with something, He shows you in ways that you can't imagine. That's why I said I'm really grateful and humbled right now when I bow my head.
While Kohli's detractors might attribute his recent decline to age or the inherent fatigue of a lengthy career, there's little doubt that his current form slump reflects something more complex than simple physical limitations. Cricket, particularly at the Test level, is as much a mental game as a physical one, and Kohli's ongoing struggle may point to an underlying issue with mindset rather than technique alone. There is a delicate balance in Test cricket between aggression and patience, and Kohli's recent attempts to recalibrate his game may be proving disruptive. Where once he relished taking on bowlers, now there seems to be a calculated restraint, a caution that, while well-intentioned, appears to have blunted the instincts that made him a formidable opponent.
Once you're down and out, there was hardly anyone who came to help me. There was hardly anyone who was looking towards me and saying, listen, let's work together and try to get your game up to speed. Everyone was just going after me left, right and center. So I was like, am I playing to prove these people wrong? For what? I've got nothing to do with them and they literally have nothing to contribute in my life.
It is worth considering too the sheer burden that comes with being Kohli. The expectations placed upon him are immense, a testament to his legacy, but also a potential source of pressure that few athletes must endure. For over a decade, Kohli has been the vanguard of India's batting lineup, carrying the hopes of millions each time he takes to the crease. This sustained pressure could sap the confidence of even the most seasoned player, creating a mental fatigue that is difficult to surmount. Kohli's journey has seen him evolve from a brash young talent into one of cricket's most celebrated figures, but with that evolution comes the weight of legacy, a weight that may be impacting his ability to perform with the freedom and audacity of his earlier years.
Look, when I step onto the field, I have to believe that I'm the best. Because my mindset, as I said, was very clear from the first time I started playing this game. I'm not going to allow anyone to think that I'm just a pushover on the field.
Despite these challenges, Kohli's resilience remains unquestionable. He has rebounded from form slumps before, though none as prolonged as this. But he now faces a unique challenge: the need to adapt to an aging body, while also contending with a younger generation of players eager to carve out their own legacies. His past recoveries from poor form have always involved a recommitment to discipline and training, and one senses that if anyone has the tenacity to reclaim their former glory, it is Kohli. The task, however, is no longer about simply regaining form. At this stage in his career, it is about redefining what it means to succeed, about finding new ways to contribute to his team's success, even if that means relinquishing the aggressive style that defined his peak years.
So I went back home. I was down for quite a bit. The great thing that happened at that stage was I realized who's with me, who's not. Things were filtered to an extent that I just got so relaxed when I went back home. I was like, okay, I've hit rock bottom now. No one believes in me. Everyone thinks I should not be playing Test cricket. So what can I do? I can just work as hard as I can.
For Indian cricket, Kohli's continued presence is more than a matter of nostalgia. It is a matter of continuity and leadership. His success has been a touchstone for Indian fans, his career a reflection of the country's own cricketing ambitions on the global stage. His current form, therefore, is not merely a personal challenge, it is emblematic of a larger narrative, one that speaks to the impermanence of sporting greatness and the relentless passage of time. Kohli's story has been, in many ways, the story of Indian cricket's ascent, a trajectory marked by triumphs, setbacks, and the indomitable spirit of a nation that sees itself in its players.
You keep moving forward. You keep taking the positive option. Whether you get success or not, that's irrelevant, but never take a backward step.
As Kohli grapples with this latest chapter, one cannot help but admire his determination, even as his path forward remains uncertain. The coming months will determine whether he can adapt his game to meet the demands of a rapidly evolving sport and to reclaim, if not his former stature, then a place of quiet assurance and steady contribution. In a world that demands perpetual dominance, Kohli may yet find solace in a more nuanced success. A success measured not by towering statistics, but by the depth of character required to endure, to adapt, and to inspire in ways that transcend mere numbers.